What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So we're taking a look at Stellar Blade here on launch day, or around launch day, for the game with day one patches on the MSI Claw8 AI Plus, running the newest Intel drivers. I've recently factory reset because we had those drivers that were kind of breaking the Claw with audio and performance issues, so I have solved and fixed all of that. The game does still have some stutter and frame time issues here and there, depending on where you're at in the game on this device in particular, but for the most part, no problems being able to play this at 1200p or 800p and adjust your settings. Now, there was an update to Center M here where we don't have the 17 and 30 watts anymore. We have these sliders we can adjust. So I'm sticking with the 30 watts I would normally test at, but there's room to adjust now and play around with this and get the kind of performance that you want and battery life. We will be taking a look at 1200p and 800p really quickly in the video, and kind of just middle of the road performance. You can run things up and get less FPS or run things down and get a lot more. I'm just going to kind of show you in the center of things here how it's running. So we're basically running on medium across the board. We're going to use FSR 3 at different qualities here, and I'll show you some TAA as well, which we'll use at 800p especially. And then again, medium settings with motion blur and chromatic aberration turned off. So that's pretty much where I'm showing you for this. And actually runs pretty well on the Claw that way. I would say in some areas 1200p is going to suffer a bit. We do kind of want to run performance. You could get away with balanced here, but this is kind of an easier to run area. You're going to get to spots that are much harder to run, that you are going to kind of need that to keep things going. And if you do start bringing it under 30 watts, of course you are going to see some performance dips there. I don't necessarily prefer the game this way at 1200p. I'd rather have some more overhead and be closer to 60 FPS or over sometimes. But we'll take a look at that when we get to the 800p. So we'll sit still here for just a minute and look at a couple of things. Going and changing our FSR settings here from performance to quality, we'll just make that jump really quickly, and we'll go from about 50 FPS to about 39. And again, in different areas, this really isn't going to hold up in combat and motion and all of that kind of stuff, but it gives us an idea of some stable performance here. Going to just straight up native AA here is going to bring us way down to about 27. If you're running TAA 100%, it's about 34, but it dips a lot when you start to move around. Now we'll go in and go to TAA 70% to help us out a little bit here. And there's a lot of flicker with TAA in a lot of scenes, especially in the distance, which is why I do prefer FSR when it comes to the 1200p, but that is the same as FSR 3 performance FPS right there if you wanted to run it that way. Now, if we go to 800p, we can get a lot more FPS. We don't have quite as many frame time issues. Keeping the medium settings, FSR performance probably isn't what you want. I would say probably quality, because we're already setting 800p as the resolution, and that's around 60 sitting here. 10 more than 1200p on performance. And then if we go in here and go to the native AA, we'll be at around 46 when it comes to 800p, which you could probably get away with if you wanted to there. We could also go ahead and change that over to TAA 100%. So we're just running 800p there, and you'll get some of that flicker you get at 1200p. It's not always as bad, especially in motion, but you get 52 FPS, which is a little more than 1200p on performance FSR. So that kind of gives you a general idea on medium settings where we're running with the game, at least in that area. And it seems like performance has been fairly consistent in my couple hours of testing so far, but later missions, that could always change. I do think the 800p with TAA probably works out a good bit better. Feels like there's less latency and it gives me less stutter and problems than the 1200p with FSR or even TAA. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, again, there's certainly room here to adjust things between TDP, graphics settings, and your resolution to run this game either higher or lower performance, gain more battery, or burn through like I'm doing here and get the ultimate performance out of the machine. But yeah, that's pretty much what we're sitting at. I'll leave you with a little bit more gameplay for 1200p and 800p. Thanks a lot for coming to check out the video as always. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.
It's a victory monument. The Hall of Records is under there.